Alright, Teal Mask. It is my moral, my social, and my intellectual obligation to do what any Pokemon YouTuber would do and cover this. Yeah, I know, I just did a video talking about Pokemon I want to use in the DLC. But this is different. This is more about Pokemon you should use if your goal is to win in your playthrough. Now, let's be honest with ourselves here. You can play just about any combination of 6 in a Pokemon game and win eventually, as we've all proven time and time again without fail. However, that doesn't mean I'm not going to try to point you in the right direction of what I think will get you there faster. The ground rules this time are pretty simple. I am going to not dedicate segments to Pokemon not being introduced in this DLC. I'm not going to tell you why Urshifu, Landorus, Great Tusk, your starter you've lugged it throughout the game, and the level 100 Charizard killing Azumarill you've got resting in the box are going to be mainstays in your playthrough. Yeah, it's almost like that's incredibly obvious or something. No, these are about Pokemon introduced in the Teal Mask DLC, confirmed in the trailers. No data mining so the video doesn't age poorly, and when the DLC comes out, people point and laugh at me. While I have the confidence of Vegeta, I don't want to have his downfalls, because they're pretty rough. Now, with that said, let's get started. What isn't there to love about Snorlax? It's got everything it needs to be a good Pokemon. Solid bulk, a decent typing for a Pokemon with that bulk, access to thick fat so it can pretend to have resists, and if you can get Terra Steel or Terra Poison on it, you can pretend it has both immunity and thick fat. See, it is a great Pokemon. Anyways, I recommend using it because while it isn't gonna sweep the game as fast as humanly possible, its bulk and moveset versatility lets it deal with a lot of options. And so it's a very consistent way to play the game, even if sadly you have to be like slightly more careful about mashing the A button than you would with a normal hit hard, hit fast type of Pokemon. Alright. This might not actually be true, but I heard Milotic was getting Scald back. I will need to do some further research into this though. With that said, with or without Scald, Milotic is actually a really good Pokemon. Why is that, you may ask? Well, it's actually pretty fast for a bulky Pokemon, clocking in at base 81 speed. It's also pretty strong for one, clocking in at a base 100 special attack. So yeah, this Mon is pretty good. Also, did I mention it's bulky? Yeah, I figured you should know just in case. Anyways, this pretty fish packs a wallop and has been consistently reliable if you're able to get your hands on it. The issue is always getting your hands on it. Having to raise its beauty or having to trade it with the prism skill has always been a small hassle. While I think it's completely worth getting, the process of getting one entirely depends on whether or not you have a friend on hand or another Nintendo Switch with online. Hey, remember that time I talked about Crawdon in that other video about Pokemon not confirmed to be in the DLC? Like, literally at the intro. Surely you remember. Anyways, yeah, that was very subtle foreshadowing of the fact that I was actually planning to talk about using Crawdon. That's right, this was planned. Anyway, let me get you to the meat and potatoes here. What makes Mr. Craw so worth using? Adaptability. Yeah, that's it. Adaptability. It hits very, very hard. Crabhammer, close combat, may be good in competition to some degree. But what about for a playthrough? I mean, Dragon Dance is a literal TM you can get your hands on in the base game. Crawdon gets Dragon Dance. Congratulations. You can now sweep through any fight, presumably after a singular Dragon Dance, unless the opponent has some blazing fast speed. But in Pokemon, everything has a counter. But remember, this is Gen 9. Everything is a counter until you Terra into a different type. And Crawdon gets an adaptability boost on its Terra types. Although, I am unsure if it keeps the boosts on its old types. Let me know in the comments about that one. I'll be honest, this is a Pokemon that is up here because of its support capabilities. But Mystic, who needs support in a playthrough? The last 3 entries in this list have been the big button mashing capabilities. Get back to the offense. And hey, we'll get there the next century, trust me. But right now though, let me talk about the Funny Drizzle Frog. And no, I'm not talking about a frog because of the rider. Now, Politoed. It has its own offensive buttons, of course. Drizzle boosted Hydro Pump and access to Ice Beam and Focus Miss are incredible options. Also, I love frogs. Frogs are just amazing creatures. I want to rock around with Politoed, Bellybolt, Greninja, and Toxicroak. I want to take them on picnics. I also want to talk about the fact you have the power to switch into a Swift Swimmer like Basky Legion, Floatzel, or Barraskewda, and then just hit the big stupid Terra water button. And because the AI doesn't switch out or makes reads, you basically automatically win. All you have to do is switch into it, and then you can go press A. See, there is hyper offense gameplay on this list. You just had to let me get there. I'll tell ya, I love Vikavolt. There's just something about an electric stag beetle that can shoot thunderbolts and all that jazz. Yeah, it gets other things in its kit, like Bug Buzz, Volt Switch, Energy Ball, Flash Cannon, and Sticky Web, but, like, you're only playing Sticky Web on your Vikavolt if you're fighting another individual. I mean, yeah, I guess you can set up webs on an NPC and then use Terra Electric Thunderbolt while having no weaknesses thanks to Levitate, and taking advantage of an opponent's now slower team. Like, I guess that makes sense, as it does compensate for its base 43 speed. All I'm saying is that I want to make it hold the leftovers for recovery, give it Roost, and then spam Thunderbolt for eons on end while I mindlessly mash the A button and not think too hard about it until the dialog box hits my screen. Okay, Clefable, we all know, I've talked about it multiple times in my videos, it's a Pokemon you should use, solid move pull, stats, etc. Fairy type, you guys get the jazz. We're gonna move on. Clefable, yeah. If you are a new viewer, the reason why I'm skipping over Clefable as much is because I talk about Clefable a lot on this channel, and it makes a very, very prominent appearance in almost every video I have. So that's why we're going a little bit faster through it. Okay, this next Pokemon might surprise you guys, but we'll see. It could either be a good or bad response. The reason why this Pokemon isn't higher when it probably deserves to be is because I simply felt like not only was this a good place for it, but also because while it is a great spam attacks win button, it's going to be one of those Pokemon that's as good as it is due to its teammates. What do I mean by this? Well, we got Drought Ninetales. It sets up the sun. And if you happen to be playing Pokemon Scarlet, then you already know exactly what kind of Mons are sharing a team with that Ninetales. Great Tusk, Roaring Moon, Walking Wake, and then your choice of amped up Fire type, and whatever 6 Pokemon you want just for the sake of having it. Be it Slitherwing, Torkoal, or maybe even just your Miraidon. I'm gonna act like Miraidon isn't here, because they existed before the DLC, and nothing beats having those on the team anyways, except, like, Arceus and Zacian. It's got the firepower to clean teams of Nasty Plot, Fire Blast, and Solar Beam. However, it's also got the power to switch out into Pokemon that can do the same thing faster thanks to its support. So it becomes, am I using Ninetales, or am I using Drought? And this dilemma is what caused me to put it here, as weird as it may be. So in my top 10 Pokemon I want to use video, I mentioned Gligar. But I'll tell ya, I love Glasscore too. It's an incredibly awesome Pokemon. It's got some of my favorite utility options in the game. Toxic, U-Turn, Roost, Toxic Orb to poison it so it can't be statused, Toxic Heal to heal it from damage instead of being hurt by poison, also access to Stealth Rocks, and hopefully still Defog. However, that is all competitive nonsense, so I get to go more in depth with my favorite Gliscor set, with or without logging on to Pokemon Showdown. Swords Dance, Earthquake, Roost, and Stone Edge to hit the pesky flying types. Why no Flying Stab? Acrobatics is my best option, and that requires me to hold an item. So I guess I could, like, hopefully replace Roost with Fling, and then replace Stone Edge with Acrobatics? I guess that works. Honestly, what matters is that Gliscor is Gliscor. It has amazing natural bulk, it has only 2 weaknesses in the game, and then 95 in attack and speed. Now, that 95 attack isn't really all that impressive, compared to, let's say, this creature over here. But it's enough after a Swords Dance, that's for sure. This attack and speed is deceptively good at sweeping through either unprepared showdown players or NPCs. And since we are fighting NPCs, you get the idea. And then Mammoth Swine just says, no need for setup, no need for ability. Just hit the other guy really, really hard. Stone Edge, Earthquake, Icicle Crash, Iron Head, Ice Shard, Superpower. It's gone, I think. But maybe they'll even give it close combat. It doesn't matter what move Mammoth Swine throws out, so long as it's a physical attack. This thing has the base physical attack stat of Garchomp, and therefore, as a fellow ground type with that kind of power, it's morally obligated to play as aggressively as possible. But Mystic, you say this, but Garchomp and Lando T, despite their powerful stats, are more known for hazards. Landorus has been a rocker for a while now, and Garchomp gets up rocks and spikes now, to which I kindly say, don't remind me. Anyways, we are going to ignore the reality that Pokemon with Glimmora special attack and Garchomp and Lando T's physical attacks are hazard or utility Pokemon. And instead, I'm going to focus on the fact that Mammoth Swine hits really, really hard. It's even got some okay bulk and a base 80 speed, which should be just fast enough to carry any enterprising trainer through their playthrough. Kamoho is going to be fun to use no matter what. I tried not to make the big pseudo legendary a number 1 on the list, but I can't let this one slip. This one is too good to pass up. Kamoho, after terastallizing out of Dragon in fighting, and then setting up a Clangorous Soul for the Omni boosts, might be one of the most threatening Pokemon in existence. Yeah, it's a Terra boost sweeper, but it's one that can hit from both sides of the attacking spectrum, and can come equipped to any fight with a series of powerful options, such as Flamethrower, Drain Punch, Close Combat, Iron Head, Thunder Punch, and any Dragon Stab. And Lord knows what else. I remember running Poison Jab just to annihilate Tapu Fini, and then despite being +1, I still didn't kill it from 44% on ladder, and lost the game. Turns out, I low-rolled. Anyways, the point is, there is not much an NPC can do to stop you once Kamoho has Terra out of its 4x weakness and set up a boost that expands to every stat you have. Throw this baby out into battle, set up free, and use every button at your disposal. Show no mercy. And that's it. That's what I got. The 10 Pokemon I believe you should use in the Teal Mask DLC. Now, with that said, I don't know if I'll make a list of Pokemon you shouldn't use. Because, like, what even is there? Arbok, Noctowl, Mightyena, Chimecho? Yeah, I know I love to tout myself as an esteemed certified PhD in dueling kind of guy, but it doesn't take a scientist, a doctor, or any sort of professional singles or doubles player that tell you not to use those Pokemon. So instead, I'm gonna tell you something else. Go use Cramorant. Immediately. Right now. Okay, with that out of the way, I'm gonna go play some OU. I wanna enjoy Clefable-less tier while it lasts.